Thank you for joining us.
Of course. Get this set up somewhere so we can like. We're getting multi-angle. Let's see.
Yeah, there's so many different angles going on
I don't
here.
even know. Come to class prepared.
Believe me, I'm like the professor who shows up 15 minutes late and half the class is gone. That's that's me.
I'm trying to be like the professor Leonardo DiCaprio pretends to be in Catch Me If You Can. People will turn to page 300 in your books. Start with discussion number 4.
Right, exactly. I love that movie.
So good.
I haven't seen it in a while though. My favorite part about that movie, well, some of my favorite parts, is Christopher Walken is such an excellent actor. There's a weird like, do you see that ghost image on your screen? It's weird. Well, no, right, like in front of you, there's like a screen. It's like a ghost inside the computer.
No idea. That's on my end. Or
That's on. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Maybe it's my end.
saying it's your OBS or something. That's crazy.
My OBS is whack. We're getting reports that your volume is really low. Is there a way to gain up your mic or?
I'll hold it.
Okay. Well, I can hear you fine in this ear, but I think going over. Hey, Evan says hi. What's up, Evan? We're just working out the how the show works. I'll get this together, and it'll be great. I just want to thank you, Ricky Elliott, for being here today. This is excellent. I want to thank you, especially cosplaying as the Kylo Ren on my birthday last week, which was amazing. I was That was amazing. Now, did you make that cosplay, or did you? How did you assemble that?
I wish I knew. It was from. Man, what happened? Well, it started with retail therapy. I was at Disneyland waiting for my parents to come meet me there. Like I came from LA and they were coming from San Diego, and they kept telling me they're on the road, they're on their way, and it was like every hour, and I knew each time they said they're 2 hours away, and I'm alone at Galaxy's Edge, and I see Kylo Ren going up in the first order trade post, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy it.
Nice.
And I bought it. I bought the one that was on the stand. They like had to get a step stool, get up there, and take it off the mannequin, and like give it to me, box it up. It was great.
That's amazing.
And then after that, it spiraled, and I was on Etsy and some other sites like piecing together a costume. I got the boots, I got the cape, and then like the voice thing was something that I really wanted that I saw someone else had done in the 501st, and I pieced that together. And so I got all that together in like a month. This was like from October 1st on my birthday to like October 31st. Now it's ready for Halloween.
That's amazing.
Lightsaber, got all the
That is like a legit costume for real. We're getting some talk that the audio is real low. What about your computer audio? I think it's your computer audio. If you can get closer to the mic.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
is it working on Skype?
Yeah. The Skype audio is coming through directly for the audience, but I'm listening to you through Instagram because that's how we got to Frankenstein the situation over here. That's how I have to. The monitor
You guys,
is
this should be much better.
yeah. Now let me see.
Levels look good.
Let me turn my levels down so they're comparable, and then I guess people at home will just have to turn up. I could see your level.
Is it worse? I can go up. I can turn the
Yeah,
gain up. I'll go up.
keep going up. Try not to distort, but see how.
Hot.
Yeah,
Toast.
yeah.
Toast.
Ron says he can't hear you at all. Uh-oh. What's going on? Let's see.
People can hear me. Other people can't hear me. It seems like
Yeah,
I'm hitting it. I'm hitting it, you guys.
that's weird. Let me do a thing where I unplug my sound thing, my Miami sound machine,
I'm working.
and I'll plug it back in. Everybody's saying that the audio's great on Instagram, so let me just do this trick real quick.
Instagram is probably working because, well, yeah, I figured I'm good on IG because it's coming from my phone. Look, this is my evidence, you guys. Okay, this is Skype. It's reading me.
That's weird. I saw your levels went up really high, and then they just went really low again on my thing. But I guess we're going to have to charge through it.
What happens if I switch to my webcam mic, which I don't want to do, but it's not
Yeah, maybe.
not too much of a nuisance. Everyone, what's it sounding like? Walter Cronkite.
It sounds like Walter Cronkite is on the phone. Walter Cronkite, you've been dead for many years. How is this even possible?
You guys, tell me how the levels are. IG sounding is great, but I'm watching his phone feed. Yup, come on, go.
Yeah.
I also want to know what's with the video. What is that? That's so strange.
I don't know. It seems strange. Let's we could do a quick callback. Let's do a quick callback. See what happens. So we're just gonna call Ricky Elliott right back. We can hear him still on Instagram, which is cool. So this is, yeah, you got to pay for Instagram these days. Let's see. I will call you back. Yeah, make sure you subscribe if you want it. You wanted sound?
You should have thought of that.
Let's see.
Let's see. So my video is gone, right? Right.
Video's gone. It should be.
Let's bring it back.
Bring it back. Yep, still low. Well.
Come on, you guys. This should. Ooh. Okay, I'm back.
Look, the webcam's better.
The webcam is better.
There's no weird faded thing.
Look, I spent 9 months of last year doing the YouTube thing. I was going live. I was live streaming 2 or 3 times a week, and I had it down pat. And now, after months not doing that, I lost it.
Yeah, that's a thing.
It's weird again.
Uh-oh. I feel like my computer is haunted. It's haunted, and it it wants to.
Look, I'll just hold this up.
There you go. Yeah, perfect. Well, there's another way. What's the other way we could do this? Just on like.
Look.
Huh. I don't know. I don't know how to do this.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Would it help if I got off the IG live, called into the Discord or whatever from my phone? Do I just need to like try and, because the audio's fine on IG. So
Try
the audio.
Try that, because I think the Discord will cancel out and you won't hear any feedback. So just listen to the audio through Discord. Oh, look, we have an idea. We've pasted together a Frankenstein idea. So you're calling on Discord.
This might be the wrong one.
Hey there.
Calling on the wrong one?
Well,
Should I
no,
call on the channel Discord?
you're calling and it's synced up with you talking right now, so I can hear you.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Now, what does that sound like on Instagram, guys? Are you hearing it twice?
What does that sound like?
Well, he's left, so you're just going to hear it once. All right, I think we did it.
I think so.
I think you're...
If we didn't,
Yeah.
We're gonna pretend like it.
I just think that your image is just... It's weird. It's got like a ghost image pattern. So, Ricky,
yeah, that's
you don't hear feedback, do you? Overloaded.
What do you guys?
Hang on.
Are you
Sorry?
screen capturing my video?
I'm capturing the window that your video is in OBS.
From Skype?
From Skype, yes. I can...
Oh, strange.
Yeah. Weird, huh? I know that Jen uses another thing other than OBS. But, hey, Cap Blue Chart. Hey, Is This Will? Our special guest today is the Ricky Elliott, cosplayer extraordinaire. Also, you do visual effects, correct?
I do. I'm in the midst of doing it right now. Right before I got on the call with you, I was in the middle of submitting some stuff.
Is it a top secret project?
Superman and Lois.
Oh, okay. So it's not really... They're not like,
Yeah.
you got to sign an NDA.
Yeah, I can say I'm working on it. We're up against the clock now. I've got to look up when we air. It's something like February 23rd or something. It's soon.
Dang. How late are the deadlines for stuff like that? Like, I mean, how
Oh,
before
I
it airs?
mean, we've been up to like the week of, and like we're still dropping stuff in and doing the whole business. So we can get pretty close. February 23rd. Yeah.
Wow.
Um, yeah. It's I. What was the closest I've really done? Remember, I feel like The Circle, the movie I worked on 2 years ago, we were up in the last week of it, like going out to theaters.
That's pretty crazy.
Fun stuff.
So, is there like a thing? Do TV shows have picture lock? Is that is it called the same thing? Okay, because I know that they do like an episode of South Park every week, like a full episode.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing an episode including news that happened 2 days before an episode of South Park. It was the Alien Gonzalez one. But
And they're like working in After Effects as well too. So I know they're like, woof. It's not that big a team, right? I believe it's like a handful of people handling the animation side of it.
yeah, like I think they've got it down where they can just do the animation all on computers, and it's pretty. There's like a shorthand. So what do you do exactly with visual effects? What are some of the things that you're doing?
So right now on like what I do on the DC CW shows, which started back in 2018 Titans for DC Universe, and then I did Doom Patrol, and I did some Batwoman. Then I went back to Titans, then I went back to Doom Patrol, then I did some of the pilot Fu. I touched some others. And right now Superman and Lois. But what I do basically is I do temp shots, which sort of just live in the edits as they go. So like, for the first round, the editor's cut, I'm making sure there's something in there for essentially everything. I do a version of like every visual effects shot. And a lot of my job also involves some creative problem solving where like they shot something one way, they didn't really have an idea. We need to know if this can work, and we need to know like in the next 2 hours,
Right.
Have X flying through the sky and plummeting down and going through a building. And will this work in the edit? And then that continues to like the director's cut and the producers and the studio and the network and on and on. Sometimes my stuff ends up in the Netflix trailer for Titans for the international release.
Right.
So yeah, I do I do a version of everything, which means I have to be sort of like very well versed a little bit of it. So like I have to know how to get rid of wires quickly and stunt masks just as much as I need to simulate a cape, do a clock simulation, figure out heat vision and superpowers like Raven and Titan. I spent a while figuring out her like eye effect, the way like veins grow on and her eyes go dark, and so a lot of it is also coming up with freedom and leeway to really play around with stuff and come up with the look of school, because I like, I'm a fan of comics myself and stuff, and I've like read all the source material of this stuff before I worked on it, so I sort of am in that position where I can go, I know the fans will like this.
Yes.
I can,
yeah.
I'll try and make Starfire's thing look like this, or like I'll reference some stuff, especially Doom Patrol. We had the comics out constantly, and we're trying to like, how can we do this like panel but like in live action?
Right.
So it's fun.
Ron is a fan of Doom Patrol as well. That's awesome. You know what? That's these stories and these comic books and stuff now are the ones making this. So it's like there's so much love and appreciation for the material that it's always fun to see. That's because it totally shines through, for real. I just
if other aspects of it do not, we at least are trying to make like the visual side of it, because it's like comic books are a visual medium, so it's like along with this.
Yeah. What do you think that whole movement was? I'd say like probably before the modern comic book movies, there was like the comic book movie had to be. I mean, it's still kind of like this with Batman, like the Nolan verse, where it had to be like real and gritty, or like a different take, a totally different take on the character. For instance, Tim Burton's Superman Lives which never happened. But I don't know if you saw that documentary, Superman Lives.
I have not, but I've seen the pictures of Nicolas Cage with his hair flowing, the chest hair popping out of the suit.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
and no cape too. Like it was
Okay.
there were three things that were like super specific that John Peters, the producer who makes all the Superman movies, was like, he's like, I don't want him in a cape, I don't want him to fly, and I want him to fight a giant mechanical spider. There's a great story that Kevin Smith tells about that. But it's like, those are some of the most iconic things about Superman. So you get to animate the cape. Where do you even start with like animating a cape? Like how does that? Where's your training from for visual effects?
I start from zero. I've never done a cape simulation in my life. I wasn't going to for the show, but like I was starting to see like some of the stuff, and I was like, this is something that I have to do. Like it's either I learn how to do this, or I'm going to animate a red solid layer that's sort of like scalable, old school animation, but like on the computer. So I basically taught myself overnight. That's sort of like how I got into visual effects in the first place. Doing lights, just like we're in an age of information where everything you need to know is at the end of it. Barely decent Google,
Yeah.
You can figure out just about anything to know in a matter of seconds. So that's sort of how I go about things. Like, and I've been doing it for 10 years now, at least.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, and it's just like so much of this stuff is like well documented. So like you hop on YouTube and there's like, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants who have come up with these like great instructional videos, and I'm just sort of like this amalgam of all their information.
Right, but that's the greatest thing about human knowledge. It's cumulative. So now like you could take
exactly.
all of the hard work that they did and then create a whole new sort of level of hard work that it compounds all that, which is kind of incredible. Actually, I'm always amazed by the stuff that people are able to do.
And there's some stuff, at least in the first episode of Superman. I'm excited for like a certain fan to see, because there's like some references to fan art and fan works that are interesting. It's like we're taking inspiration from people who are like the most inspired by this stuff. And we're doing it for real. It's really cool.
That's amazing. I just noticed your shirt. Good fashion sense. Nice. It's the OG shirt.
It's subtle.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so guys, if you're just joining us, we're with the Ricky Elliott here on Aristotle Full Throttle. We're talking about Superman and Lois. Is that?
We are.
Now, is that like kind of a multiverse situation that's happening with the WB or the CW universe? Or how's that?
It is completely divorced from the others. It is a reboot. Like
Okay.
Tyler Hoechlin and the actress who plays Lois are both from Supergirl CW verse actors. They're not the same characters. Their circumstances are not a result of Infinite Earths event. Like it's just its own. I believe there may have been talk of like last year the crossover, because we were supposed to start on Lois. My first day was supposed to be like the week after it started last year, so it was like March. It was a while ago. So the crossover last year was supposed to be, I think, between Super and Batwoman, but they nixed that pandemic.
Right.
But the show really stands apart from the other one because it sort of follows the pattern that the DC Universe shows like Titans started with, edging towards that cinematic look, like HBO or a little more event television.
Right.
It looks more like the movie. There are moments that are very like Man of Steel, and Return just like harkens back to a lot of this. It doesn't feel like a CW show. I think it.
That's cool.
nothing against those, but like.
I have a question about Batwoman. Also, I think you might have to get a little closer to the phone mic because the audio is a little choppy. But
Hello. Check.
thank you, Evan, for letting us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, my question about Batwoman is now Ruby Rose is Batwoman for like 3 minutes, and then we got another Batwoman. What happened?
Yes. I have no idea. I know there was some stuff with like she was injured early on when they were shooting the pilot still.
Oh,
And
really?
that was, yeah, she had a pretty major like back surgery if I recall correctly. But that was definitely something that sort of like changed the way the show went because it was a little bit harder, I believe, for her to do a lot more of it, like in this stuff that
Right.
doing the superhero stuff sort of requires. But yeah, other than that, I don't really know. I was as surprised as everyone.
Yeah.
Evan said the tough questions. Indeed.
That is a tough question. What is the explanation as far as the show goes? Like, how are they explaining her being replaced?
Honestly,
I tried Googling it the other day and I could not find any information on the story.
Yeah, and I should ask my friend Andy who's working on it, but like I have no idea. I assume what they did was the exact same thing they did with Kate, which was like Batwoman left. She went into Wayne Manor and met what's his name? Not Lucius Fox, but his son. I can't remember. And found the suit and was like, I'm gonna be Batwoman. I'm sure it's something like that. She just like, because if I recall from a trailer or something, there's something like that where like she's in the cave and someone's like, "You're not Batwoman." Like, someone has to be.
That makes well, someone that is true because now they're talking about like keeping Batfleck and keeping Michael Keaton as Batman. They're supposed to appear in the next Batman movie or some kind of
in the
Flashpoint movie. And like now is it going to be like the older mentoring Batman bringing on new Batman situation, or because I know that happens? There's what's that, Batman Beyond, or the comic book where they do have the OG Bruce Wayne is training like a younger Batman.
Yeah, I bet it's something like that, or it's going to be like Flashpoint where it's the Batman in the timeline where Barry goes back and does save his, and that sort of sets everyone's path. It's like Wonder Woman and Aquaman are fighting, and Batman's become this sort of killer vigilante. Like, but it's Thomas Wayne. It's not even Bruce.
Gotcha.
So I wonder if they'll have Michael Keaton play. Who will play who? Because it could be either way. They could have Ben Affleck playing evil parallel universe Batman, but it's Thomas. He's like playing his father, or Michael Keaton could be Thomas.
Right.
But yeah, I think they're both Batman, but I don't think they're both Bruce.
That makes sense. I mean, I'm pretty stoked that we live in a world where all the Batmans matter.
Exactly. All Batmans matter.
Ange has filled us in with the storyline point. It's she died in a plane crash in the show, and Jovica finds the suit in the wreckage. So she's like, somebody got to be Batwoman.
So, what else in the wreckage, sister?
So, but I figure, if you find the Batwoman suit, you got to put it on.
Yeah.
It's just, you got to see what kind of utilities she's got in that belt.
Surprised it wasn't Lucius Fox.
Yeah.
Lucius Fox puts it on, has the red wig. That'd be incredible.
It would be. It's been a minute. So, like, now Lucius Fox, is he in the series? Is he in the series?
No, his son is, and I forget what his name is, but it's something Fox.
Got it.
Yeah, but it's basically him. His dad never shows up, so he, in the same way Batman was like the surrogate Bruce. Which, thank Nolan for bringing him into the old mix there, because now we've got a black character in Batman.
Exactly. It's like, hey, we're expanding. I was just looking at So speaking of diversity, I was looking at Biden's cabinet picks. I know it's kind of like a lateral move, but yeah, it looks like America, and that's what I like about
Yeah.
representation. Literal representatives ought to be representative. That's all.
Yeah. I have a good question about representation in
What's up?
film. How do we feel about black people, women, all sorts of people being in the Empire?
Well, it was weird to me that people with American accents were in the Empire.
That was a weird turn, man.
Because that felt inconsistent, but it seems like since it's more of like the Mandalorian era, I think we're talking about that period.
Yeah.
It seems like they're just trying to find anybody. They're trying to salvage anybody that they can to work for the Empire. So now they're sort of hiring folks from all different.
It just feels like who would sign up at that point? It's like
Yeah.
there's been 2 Death Stars now.
I know that.
My brother, what are you doing?
I can't tell you. I don't understand. I don't understand why John Boyega and his girlfriend that they had to make also black because they were like interracial John Boyega and Rose Tico. They cannot be together.
Yeah.
This is not enough. The American audience, particularly the Chinese audiences, I think, because they cater.
Oh, yeah.
Because specifically, if we're gonna talk about diversity and stuff, like the lesbian kiss at the end of Star Wars Episode 9 is edited out of the movie because of China, because of the Chinese, like their, I don't know, morals, or I don't even want to call them morals, but their standards.
Yeah.
They don't allow that because of their discrimination. They don't like it.
Or Boyega being taken out of the Force Awakens poster.
Oh, is that true? He was taken.
Yeah. There's the Chinese versions of like the main one where it's like floating heads. He's out of there, or at least he's like 90% smaller or something. Whereas like he matches Rey and ours.
That is so ridiculous. And that reminds me of, I mentioned this before too, like many moons ago, is I remember driving past the marquee of Avengers Endgame and seeing like all of the characters sprawled all over the screen, all over the poster. All of them, almost all of them, the majority of them are white folks. The majority of those white folks are white dude folks. And there's like Don Cheadle and Okoye are like this tiny on the poster. There's
and who was bigger? It was like
a raccoon.
Raccoon. Yeah, Rocket Raccoon is like
Rocket Raccoon is more prominent on the Avengers Endgame poster than Don Cheadle. I find that offensive.
It's a fun take on things.
But that's the world we're living in. I didn't know that about John Boyega in the Force Awakens posters. That's whack.
Yeah, I looked it up just to make sure. He is completely out of that.
That is the definition of whack. I remember when he was holding the blue lightsaber in all of the promos, and I was like, oh, cool. This could be like a big thing, like the Force Awakens. There's a stormtrooper who awakens and then becomes a Jedi. How cool would that storyline be? People aren't ready.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't.
People aren't ready for him. People aren't ready for him to be a Jedi.
Here it comes. Evan Istic says, I'd like black people in the Empire more than they dove deeper in how the Empire kidnaps and manipulates people into working for them. Yeah, that's an interesting. They could have made an allusion toward the dark American history on that, and the whole British history too. Evan also says, man, they hella ran away from letting Boyega get near any non-black person, right? It was just like,
Yeah.
so ridiculous. So ridiculous. I was like, I mean, we could go on about Episode 9. I mean, this.
Let's instead go off about how Solo is better than Rogue One.
Let me think about that. I rewatched Solo. I saw it for.
Don't at me.
I saw it. This is a hot take you got there, Ricky Elliott.
The hottest.
Now I saw on Friday the weekend it came out, and then I watched it a couple months ago, and it was a lot better than I remembered it. Rogue One, I feel like when I first saw it, I didn't like it. I decidedly didn't like it.
Yeah.
Second time, I was like, it's all right. The third time, I watched it with my parents, who like old-time war movies and stuff, and I kind of watched it through their eyes, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like an interesting war movie that my parents could dig as just for being that. And then I drew the line at just liking it. Solo, I'm still kind of, there's some cool things in Solo,
Yeah.
but I can't tell. I can't tell which one's better.
Solo is more fun, and it really just like
Yes.
comes down to that. Like Rogue One, effective, like truly, it is what it says it is, mostly.
Yeah.
But Solo knows exactly what it's trying to do, and I feel like in terms of trying to establish Star Wars in a way, does it? It like, I don't know. I feel like when it winks at the audience, it knows it's winking. Rogue One, when 3PO shows up, it was just like, wow. It's like a Disneyland commercial where everything seems normal, and then 3PO shows up and says, oh my. It's just like, like, I understand he had to be there, but any number of us fans could come up with a better way for him to show up in Rogue One.
Yeah, it was
It could have been vital in Rogue One. I don't know.
It was kind of crowbarred in there. Evan and I famously spoke about Rogue One when Evan was a guest.
I remember.
Evan says Solo is legit. You know my thoughts on Rogue One. We do. If you guys want to catch up on that, we got a highlight video and the full-length video on AristotleFullThrottle.com. Ginger, better shot. That is absolutely what I think Rogue One... I mean, they both are editing nightmares if you think about it. Solo was mainly reshot with Ron Howard directing because they got rid of Lord and Taylor or whatever the guys are.
Lord and Taylor.
Whatever their names are. They got rid of those guys.
Baskin and Robin.
Baskin and Batman and Baskin and Robin. Batman and... Yeah. So...
I feel like even now at home, I've got to watch it on my OLED, actually. I haven't. But Rogue One feels like a 3D movie you're watching without glasses. It's just not blurry. It's like it is not just like, I don't know, it's not enough to say it's like dark. It's not like contrasty dark. It just feels dim.
Right.
Unnecessarily so. And I feel like, the stuff that looks the best is the third act, which is all beach planet stuff and the stuff in space. It all looks incredible. It also looks nothing like the rest of the movie.
That's true.
But I do like Rogue One. I just Vader showing up at the end.
You're not down with it. You can't.
Jin being a leader. Since when? Who said so? Why has Force Awakens said, I will reign no longer? Why?
He's just like, I'm gonna go stare down a nuclear explosion of half the planet blowing up, just for no reason.
You're more machine now than man. Just hydraulic out of here.
Yeah, just bounce. Just to clarify, Ginger Bee Snapping says episode 9 was an editing nightmare. Just to clarify, yes, that is also. Think about it. The Kathleen Kennedy produced Star Wars films. I don't want to be like harsh on Kathleen Kennedy. Thank you guys for the donation for St. Jude's, by the way. There's a fundraiser every day, St. Jude's. Got $5 for that. Thank you very much. Kathleen Kennedy, she came in. She's a huge, big-time producer, but I don't know if she understood or could... you can watch that interview with Kathleen Kennedy and George Lucas sort of describing his vision. And then she's, even in that famous... interview with Disney like 6-7 years ago when they were changing hands, Lucasfilm was going over to Disney, you could see Kathleen Kennedy was trying to put her hand on the property to move it in a direction that she wanted, which is understandable, but I think that the reverence to George Lucas was not there. I think that Filoni and Favreau have a reverence, couping $4.05 billion once once they got it, and that may have been more on her mind. And just that's a speculation, obviously, but I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
what do you think about the 4
I
films
think
that have come out?
as a whole, they don't work. There's nothing
5
about
films.
them that works.
Yeah.
Especially, I should say specifically, together. They sort of work on their own, but like, you know,
Yeah.
if you're telling me you had a plan for Snoke, you're lying. There's no plan for plan for any of it, obviously. But I don't know. It just feels like they got too caught up in the stress of it. Like, we gotta, it's been years and everyone has their theories on what's gonna happen, and we gotta try and, lead everyone away from what they think is gonna happen. And they should you should have done what made sense.
Yeah.
And not worry about trying to subvert expectations.
That's true.
That's why Force Awakens was successful and all, is because it didn't. It was exactly what you thought it was going to be. It was like tiny JJ Star Wars, and it works because of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The rest are like, well, now we're doing something different. And like, for me personally, Last Jedi comes close to what I want new Star Wars.
Right.
For one storyline. Don't you dare sideline Finn. And Rose and Poe, and literally they separated all the minorities
right.
from the rest of the cast, and they're off on their adventure, and they're off over here, and it's like,
I never,
to me, when I watch it, it's like putting on episode 1, and it's just like, I mean, someone will hit me for this, but now it's just like, when you're watching the ending, I don't really care about this starfight with Starfighter's base.
No.
Edit together Darth Maul fighting Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. That's all I do.
Yeah, I think that was like George Lucas sort of one-upping every movie, because in the first movie there was an epic space battle, in the second movie, in release order, you had the lightsaber duel, and was there also and the escape from Cloud City. So those were 2 parallel actions. And then in the third movie, you got the Ewoks fighting, you got the space battle, and you got the epic lightsaber duel. So there's 3 main set pieces happening at once. Let's do 4 in the Phantom Menace.
I didn't really. Return of the Jedi wasn't one of my favorite movies for a long time because of it. Because as I started to get older and more aware of the goings on of what the film is doing, it felt so much like a sequel. I'd seen sequels eventually, and I knew what the feeling was. So it's when they're outside the gate, Han and Leia of the outside the blast door of the Empire base.
So good.
And Han goes, "I love you," and she goes, "I know." It's just that's a cool thing, It's this has to be here.
Yeah.
But thank goodness it mostly worked, because otherwise Star Wars would have been dead. And now the dead's.
And now what? Sorry, say that one more time.
And now the dead speak.
The dead speak. Yeah. So the first line
in Fortnite.
That's right. It was released in Fortnite. The Emperor's message to the remaining.
Why?
It's just dumb. I can't. It was J.J. Abrams going, look, I don't have ideas. I have questions, and I can ask questions. I just have no answers for those questions, and that is a problem. I don't know why J.J. Abrams is considered a great filmmaker. Name a great J.J. Abrams film.
JJ is a good opener. JJ is not a closer.
Yeah.
Case in point, an Impossible 3, necessary to get Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation and Fallout, but thank goodness it did not continue as MI3.
Right.
Fringe, he set it up. Thank goodness he didn't knock it down. Lost. We don't need to talk about Lost.
Right.
We know. But he can set him up. Force Awakens, he can set him up, but he's not your 11th hour guy.
I would like to piggyback on the Lost thing, because Damon Lindelof and them kind of trailed it off into this weird place, and then Damon Lindelof rewrote the script for Prometheus to make it make no sense. But I would like to say that he redeemed himself with Watchmen. He came back and was like, you know what? I'm guilty of all of these sort of things that were just like sizzle bits. Like I could
Yeah.
spice things up or make it seem interesting, but he's like, you know what? I need to hunker down and get better at the
and
craft.
leftovers as well.
Leftovers, yeah,
Damon Lindelof has proven he can do things the right way.
yeah.
Tomorrowland? No.
Let's just forget about. Let's leave that in yesterday. To be fair, Solo and Rogue One are the best pre-Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau controlled solo Star Wars media Disney made. They are. The weird thing about Solo and Rogue One, I like that Rogue One makes me want to watch episode 4 like right away. As soon as it's over, I'm like, I gotta go find out what happens now. Like I'm excited to watch A New Hope again. But for Solo, I'm kind of like, did we need to know where Han Solo came from? Did we need?
I'll tell you what. I think Lando show on Disney Plus is going to recontextualize Solo, and make it a whole lot better. It's going to be like, without Solo, we don't get this, and so now, Solo.
That's I really do feel like that's what Filoni and Favreau are doing. They're like a cleanup crew. They're like, okay, there's a mess here. Let's connect all the dots so that everything is better. I believe that, though. I believe that if you make really good interstitial stuff or stuff that is connected to that universe, it can elevate the entire thing and make you look at it. Like, I ain't even I have always been mad at midichlorians, right? But the fact that they mention M count in The Mandalorian, I'm like, I'm going to let that go.
They did it with class.
Yeah, they didn't say the whole M word, but they're including.
Don't say the M word.
Exactly. The M word is a different type of offensive slur. Do never say midichlorians around here. It is the answer to a question nobody asked. But
it's over 9,000.
It's how many M counts do you have?
Okay, wait. Before we get off of Star Wars, since I'm hijacking your platform.
All good. You're welcome.
What did they say? The Festivus saying? The airing of grievances. I don't know. Maybe we won't get into spoilers in case no one's seen it. Just kidding. It's been like a month. The ending.
Mandalorian.
I mean, maybe I won't get specific. I'll let you decide if you want to get specific. But like, Star Wars comes into the Mandalorian. All over everyone.
Yeah.
And then like everyone is just left there struck.
Yes.
Both starstruck and just silent, and it felt like the show just ended.
Right.
Like, not like the episode. It felt like it ended.
Yeah.
What do we do now? And I don't know that would have brought in Star Wars Mandalorian in that way.
Yeah, my friend Ollie also has a similar. He just says it just doesn't sit right with him, even though it was a big deal. It was shocking. It was kind of crazy. Oh, the image got better suddenly. That's good. But he's like that moment at the end of The Mandalorian didn't sit right, and I'm like, I can see how it doesn't sit right. However, I do feel like it was earned. It was earned over 2 seasons, and I think that moment was the only moment that we could accept. Do you know what I mean? Like, because the storyline of Grogu is that Grogu needs to go somewhere, and I'm like,
he needs to go to preschool,
and I'm like, if we're gonna get rid of Grogu, this is the best way to do it, and it's the only way I will accept it. And I think that's that would be the only satisfying way to be like, okay, Grogu's in good hands.
But I think, and you're right, like that's totally right. But I think they're not going to be able to resist bringing him back.
Oh, you got to bring Grogu back.
And so does that undo the power of taking him out in the first place? Like if it just lasted the time between seasons.
Yeah.
I don't know. Will they do the courageous thing and, Mando's mission is complete. Mando really doesn't need to do anything else with Grogu. Like, he'll, at least in the timeline of the show, unless they did a time jump of like 5 years,
Yeah.
which to say the next season take up right from season 2.
I mean, that seems like a plausible idea. I think that for some reason I have a feeling they're going to make like a love story for the next part of Mandalorian, just because they had the daddy and the baby story. Now they're going to have
Yeah.
the love story. Aeon Alita says Star Trek was pretty good. You're right. Star Trek 2009, pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good movie.
Yeah, exactly.
10 Cloverfield Lane. Did he direct that though? I think he.
No, that was Dan Trachtenberg.
Okay, so
Who,
that's right.
I forget what he made a Portal short on YouTube, which was pretty cool. But
I do like 10 Cloverfield Lane. I thought that was a really good movie.
very good. Very good.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that again.
Yeah, that's another one I gotta watch again, because that whole movie, you're like, is this? Are they?
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Who's this?
Is it crazy?
Is this? Could
What's in
be.
the barrel?
And they really kind of mess with you on that, and I like that. I like that feeling. I kind of feel that same way about the movie Hereditary. I feel like Hereditary could be looked at as psychosis the whole time, even though there's like a very specific mythology that they lay out and fulfill, and a prophecy that they fulfill in the movie. I still think that you can frame it through the lens of Hereditary, like having say like schizophrenia being hereditary, or like a mental illness being hereditary. So I thought that might just be me reaching. I could do a video essay on that.
And you should.
Evan says Solo destroyed the Kessel Run myth.
Yeah, it did.
How do you mean, Evan? Destroyed it, like made it worse or better?
Just that it's like in the same vein as, did we need to know how Solo got his?
True.
Like, Han, single man. Like, did we need that? It's better off like. It would have been even more funny if what happened was like they're gearing up, they know it's going to be crazy, and he goes punch it, and they do the thing, and it cuts, and then we're just in the vacuum of space, and we're sitting here.
Yeah.
And time is going by, and time literally. I would play it out for like 10 seconds, and then Falcon, and then they're all just in disarray, just like, oh my god, I can't believe that! Like a Rick and Morty moment,
Right.
And that's it. We'll never know what happened.
That's true.
I did. And then it could be like Han and Lando arguing how long.
Yeah, and in the movie he did it in 14 or something, or 13. He over the years he has exaggerated a little bit more, but I think that. I did like that they addressed that a parsec is a unit of distance, and they were like, okay, so how do we get through this? I mean, yeah, like I thought it was a pretty fun piece in the movie, but I do like the idea of mystery being in Star Wars. We don't have to answer every single reference, which they love to do.
Yeah, which is another issue I had with Mando, which was in, what was the episode? The Believer? I can't remember. Grogu sitting on the stone. I'm going to call it the seeing.
Yeah.
Did we need
that was
the Force visualized?
Yeah. Yeah, now I got mad at that. I got real mad at that to the point where it was irrational anger. And people were just like, you're really mad at this, aren't you? And I'm like, yes. You don't need to show a visual representation like of a force field, literal glowing blue force field on a stone. I'm like, we never saw that ever in any live action Star Wars. We saw Force lightning, and even when I was a kid and I saw Force lightning for the first time, I was like, this doesn't feel consistent. But they've since built on the Force lightning, and I'm like, I've accepted it. But even when the Emperor was just shooting lightning out of his hands, I was like, that doesn't feel like a Force power to me. But
now we're Flash Gordon.
Yeah, exactly. We're just shooting lasers from our fingertips. And then when they show the blue light in the Robert Rodriguez directed episode of The Mandalorian, they literally show a blue force field. I would have done well with, just the idea of sort of a mind trick happening to Mando, where every time he gets close to Grogu, he just sort of fades out, like he can't get near him for some reason. And I would have accepted that as part of whatever was happening there. I didn't need to see the
I wonder if it's set up for something more. In the same way, Grogu Force healing was a thing in season that weeks later opened
Right.
Rise of Skywalker. Like I feel like because it's in it.
It was a day later. It was a day later.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you which comic. It's a Darth Vader comic though, but it's a recent one where Darth Vader post Episode 3 is meditating, and he's like missing arms and legs and stuff, but you see it manifested through the Force. They're like glowing blue, and around him are blue butterflies and like blue. So I feel like it's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
In the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Right.
Because I don't know what they're going to do with Hayden coming back, but seems like he's going to communicate maybe with Obi-Wan. Deborah Chow had said something about having them face off again.
They said it's the rematch of a lifetime. So I don't...
Yes. I feel like they're going to bring up the Force thing again, like visually, and it's going to have to do...
That would be... I mean, you really have to sell me on it. You really, really have to sell me on it. I feel like the Obi-Wan series, I don't know, like I would like to see kind of like a gritty version of that. But how do we know? Is there any evidence in the movies, the live action Star Wars stuff, that says that Obi-Wan and Darth Vader never met up since the fight on
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Vader's first line to Obi-Wan in Episode 4. It's like, Obi-Wan, we meet again.
Yes.
When you last saw me, I was but the learner, now I am the master.
Right.
It's like this. It's a whole thing. It happened in the comics as well with Luke.
Luke, yeah, I didn't like that.
Now it is canon that Luke has met and fought Vader way before he saw him. And it's just like,
Not
thanks with this stuff.
I don't know.
Pablo?
Pablo is under fire.
I love you, Pablo.
He's the keeper of the holocron, but don't be making fun of people's passion for this stuff.
Yeah. Look, he was very nice. I met him with my friend Antoine when we went to Star Celebration 2015, the big year with Force Awakens trailer and all that. And he even knew about because my friend Antoine and I went dressed up as internet sensations Ryan and Dorkman from famous fan lightsaber. And Dorkman had been in an accident not too long before that, and he had already known about it or whatever. It was crazy, and I had his lightsaber or whatever, and he took a picture with it holding his lightsaber, and he was very nice. We even got to talk to the story group as well, meaning Kiri Hart and the rest of them. But yeah, you're gonna make fun of a man crying over Luke coming back? I mean,
that's everybody's feeling. That's what everybody was feeling that day.
Who wakes up in the morning and laughs at their bread and butter? You like the thing we made.
He's just trying to self-destruct. Let me catch up on some of these comments here. Maybe if you've got rid of that yee ass robe, you'd get some midichlorians on your D. Maybe. Evanistic says, it was so nice to have Mandalorian feel like a side of the Skywalker saga and trying to keep and tying it back. Yeah, it felt cheap. Interesting.
That's what I'm feeling. It was also we went almost 2 seasons without hearing the Force thing. We almost got out of it.
Yeah, because we were so I feel like we were already all in on Mandalorian at that point. So, I mean, I guess I'm of two minds. I do understand why it's sort of this hey, remember, let's go pick another member berry from the member.
Berry.
We got to pick, remember this, remember that? And you got Luke Skywalker showing up. I mean, cat's out of the bag. Sorry about the spoiler, but he shows up and yeah, it is this does trump the entire, so to speak, the entire 20 episodes that we just watched or whatever it is, or 16 episodes. And it kind of is oh yeah, the movies are a whole different thing and they're a whole different level of thing. And the Mandalorian is a nice little pocket of Star Wars. And then when you bring in Luke, it is such it just overshadows everything.
It's also so hard to believe Luke knows everyone. Luke has been there for all these people.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, story is driving people's lives. The people are not driving them. There's just like I said, they're all standing there speechless. It's like, let's talk about how Bo-Katan isn't the ruler of Mandalore now.
Right.
Moff Gideon's on the floor. He just tried to shoot Baby Yoda. What's up with him?
Yeah. They knocked him out. Yeah, I was waiting for a battle to the death or something similar. As soon as Bo-Katan was like, listen, I got to fight you now because that's the honor. I got to get the Darksaber from you. And I thought that was going to happen. I thought something was going to go down like that. But then we all got distracted with left field. Just watch.
It could have been like this thing with like, they're trying to do this. She just decides to start fighting him, and everyone else is trying to stop him. And Moff makes an escape. And then gets caught by Luke, which would like.
It could have.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, it could have been so many things, other than what it was. Looking at season 2 of The Mandalorian, there were a lot of Hindu nods, even the blue force fields, mostly Fro. the Bhagavad Gita. I don't know how to say that, but yes, and Alita, she's a yoga instructor, so she's keen on that. She's keen eye for that stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate when Star Wars goes back referencing the thing Star Wars reference.
Yeah.
The sequel movies reference themselves in Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's why Mando works. The Jedi is basically Kurosawa making Star Wars. It's like
Yeah. It was so good. So good.
But you can't reference yourself. You can't self-reference.
Yeah.
Delude the whole.
Ginger Bee Snapping says Clone Wars had similar imagery when they went to the Mortis. You can't get rid of Moff Pollos Hermanos. Moff Pollos
I run a
Hermanos.
very lucrative crate.
Yes.
Fried chicken.
He's like, what is it? Where does he keep the dark troopers? Those were an interesting addition. But again,
It's fun that they're like throwing in stuff from video game.
Yeah,
they are giving a Star Killer.
That's a thing. I wonder how much of all of that stuff they're just going to pick from moving forward instead of sort of just expanding and expanding. Like, they have so much time to sit down and with like creative people and think out new directions for the story to go.
Yeah.
Because it's infinite.
What would you say you're most excited for in the Disney Lucasfilm picture of 14 logos to come?
Most excited for I think they're making a Willow series.
Yes, they just lost John M. Chu, which could be good or bad for it.
Huh.
Good.
He directed a few did he direct Step Up?
Step Up, G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Right. Yeah.
Gem and the Hologram.
Why don't they just get Ron Howard back? And
that's an idea.
Or Bryce Dallas Howard. I think her episode this season of The Mandalorian was way better than the one she directed last season. I think she got better as a director.
I think people just throw her shade for that first one because that was the first time we Baby Yoda in Crosshairs, which never do again. We'll riot.
Oh, yeah.
Not even for a joke. I would say I'm most excited for Leslie Headland's Acolyte show, the creator of Russian Doll, which I watched over and over and over. I love her. And her doing a High Republic era focused Sith story seems interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what she brings. She definitely, I don't know, she's well suited for Star Wars. I'll say that. I have just seen Wonder Woman 1984. My excitement for Rogue Squadron has
declined because of Patty Jenkins.
I'm
neutral.
Star Wars is good, but it can be better.
I literally was going to quote that at the end of the movie. I was going to be like, Wonder Woman was good, but it could be better. but like, but it wasn't good. But it could be better. There were things about Wonder Woman that I liked. I liked the armor. Oh, the chicken armor was pretty neat. I thought the cameo from the original Wonder Woman was kind of awkward, but I liked it. I don't know. There was a lot of things in that movie that are problem. Like they're just problems story wise. And
that was the first thing I love going to my mom because she likes terrible movies to see what she thought. And one of her favorite movies, forgive me for being real, is The Last Airbender. I've tried to set her right. It's not anyways. But sometimes she's right on the money. And I asked her, and I was like, "What do you think of Wonder Woman?" She's like, "It could have used some work." I was like, "You've never said anything like this about a bad movie. I love it."
That's hilarious.
But no, it felt like someone saw Aladdin and said, "This is a good idea. It didn't." I watched it with my girlfriend, and she said it so perfectly, which is just that it didn't feel like a Wonder Woman movie. Like she just wasn't there so often.
Right.
Especially compared to the original film, it's just like she's so absent.
That's exactly what I was hopping on the Discord while I was watching it and just chatting. Guys, if you want to join the Discord, remember to follow Aristotle Full Throttle on twitch.tv/Aristotle Full Throttle, and then it gives you access to Discord. Yeah, I was kind of chatting about it, and I'm like, it's been almost an hour, and I haven't seen Wonder Woman in the Wonder Woman movie. So I was disappointed with that. There was two beginnings to the movie. There was the epic Olympic-type event.
Which was a member berry. It was like, look, we got Robin Wright. We got, I forget her name, who plays her mom. It's just like, remember?
So we didn't forget them. They're back. And then there was the mall scene, which was very Superman 2, when they were kind of walking through the streets, and it was like very hokey.
When we were watching it, I was like, this feels like Sky High.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's Sky High.
It totally does. You can literally cut Wonder Woman from the movie, and the same thing happens because Max changes from his kid, says Evanistics. So yeah, I guess she does not have influence in the sense of a hero against the villain.
Yeah.
Huh.
Visual effects note. Why when she... we won't get into spoilers. No, it's leaving HBO Max this week.
You had a chance.
In 2 days, so you're fine. When she lassos Max's leg, it changes the color of the broadcast to gold because that's how broadcast television works.
Yeah.
It's just like when they cut to all the inserts of, the Tokyo intersection and Brazil, everything's glowing gold because her lasso went around the guy? Like the camera got knocked over. What does this have to do with... Yeah.
That's an interesting detail for sure. That is an interesting... There are certain things like that will always bug me for sure. Annalita says, Moth Pollos Hermanos, that's his name from now on. That's what we're calling him. Thank you for that. Gingerbread.
Ever since
Ginger be snapping.
It may have been before the pandemic, but on Uber Eats there is a Los Pollos Hermanos now, like with the branding and everything. And I thought it was going to go away. It was a pop-up, but it's like the Heisenberg combo.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fun for, for the theme of it.
There you go, Uber Eats. There's a freebie. Now hook us up.
Yeah, hook us up with some Pollos Hermanos. I like the French fries. It was just a deleted scene from the first movie. Oh.
Yeah, that first... I think she's saying that first scene.
Oh,
on Scare, it feels like a...
Yeah, it does. Paid for it. We shot it.
Another small thing, which I debated with Paris. It was just like, when she's giving her big speech at the end, telling everyone to repent and whatnot.
Yeah.
They're playing Batman's cue from Batman v Superman.
Really?
Why? Yeah, they're playing. If you go and listen to it, first, I think it's like the first track on Batman v A Beautiful Lie.
Oh.
Why are they playing? They played it. and I looked it up in an interview with Gal Gadot, and she's talking about like, well, it was in there for temping purposes, and then Hans had come in and started to do his thing, and they were trying different versions, and they were like, well, this is already your music from another movie. Why don't we just use this? And that's why it's there.
Wow. I mean, I do love her theme, the original theme. They made it more orchestral. The that's such a cool riff, and I got pumped up in the movie when that music started playing. But they did kind of expound upon the score, and they made it less rock and roll guitar and more orchestral, which
they tried to. I mean, for the life of me right now, I couldn't what it is, but it feels like they tried to make it feel more 80s in a way, especially like the highway scene in the desert. Something about it just felt off. I don't know why they don't like. I think what happened was they felt like her theme is too dark, so we can't really play it straight.
Right. Yeah.
So they tried to brighten it, and I don't feel it always.
That's exactly what I felt too. I felt that they tried to make it more open sounding, because it's kind of like a closed dark riff. And then they sort of made it more uplifting. Christopher Nolan did the same thing with the last Batman, just took way too long to see the actual Batman for no reason. Yeah, I don't get having a superhero movie without and the criticism again for Iron Man 3. Very similar.
I knew you were going to say it.
Yeah, because it's just like he doesn't really show up, and when he does a heroic thing, he's not there for it.
I love Iron Man 3, but
I do too. I think it's good.
It's like it's one of my favorites. It's not my favorite, but
it's funny.
I'll ride it. Yeah, it's totally like a Shane Black movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like in between the other Marvel films, sure, it does not work. But like as its own thing, like neat. It almost feels like a spin-off.
That's why I like Thor Ragnarok, because to me, I'm like, this is a Taika movie with characters I like that I know already, and it's hilarious. Evan says Iron Man 3 grew on me in later viewings.
It's interesting that it like starts to get into superhero PTSD and like the effects of that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Commentary on U.S. Interference and like terrorism and funding, that sort of thing is very interesting. I thought it was a unique. I know a lot of people are mixed on like I almost said the Mandalorian on the Mandarin
right.
reveal that like twist there, but like I thought it was sort of clever. I thought it was an interesting way to do it.
I thought it was hilarious. They did also do sort of still gonna be the Mandalorian, so it was like a double agent type of thing, a triple agent.
It seems like they're gonna do something in Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings.
That's right. Yes.
Really tell us who the Mandalorian, the Mandarin is?
That's the thing. It's like, where do we go? Now let's talk about the future of all of these things. Now we're getting like a multiverse of madness. We're getting the next Spider-Man is going to have 3 Spider-Men in it. The next
going to have 3 of everything. 3 Mary Janes.
everything. Everybody's going to be in it. Dr. Octopus is going to be. So, and also, similar things are happening next year or this year, right? There's going to be 3 or next year, 3 Batman movies with 3 different Batmans or something like that. Or 2. One's going to be Flashpoint. One's going to be The Batman. And then
if Flashpoint ever locks.
Yeah, they've been going back and forth with that movie for years.
Phil Lord and Chris that at some or am I thinking of a different? I feel like they were.
I feel like they were. I think they were. If anybody wants to check if Lord and Taylor were part of that project, the Flashpoint. But
and then there's like the Gotham show, which we just did, but this is going to tie into the Batman.
Huh.
What?
So how are we getting oversaturated? Are we getting super saturated? Are we getting too many things all at once? Are we at the point where we're like critical mass, where we just like, we need to put everything in it all at once, or else nobody's going to be happy? Like, is that?
I think what this is a result of is the pandemic. Because, and this is something I was talking about with some friends of mine after seeing and being slightly disappointed with WandaVision, is that Marvel, at least, DC, but Marvel has been very particular about the way they release things, the order in which they do them, the way they reveal themselves, the way things like the pacing in general. WandaVision wasn't supposed to be first. We were supposed to have by now, like, I think it was supposed to be Black Widow, then the Eternals, then Winter Soldier, and Falcon Winter Soldier, then WandaVision. But, like, that's
Really?
all mixed up now.
Yeah.
We've jumped ahead, and WandaVision to me feels mispaced. It feels like mispaced and misplaced. Like, it just feels like it was supposed to come after other things.
Right.
So that oversaturation is going to happen this year, next year, because more of that stuff is getting released together.
Yeah, just because of all
Loki,
the logistics.
yeah,
Loki.
DC as well. I mean, it's hard to tell in DC. Do they look like a guy with a plan?
Let's not say that too loud so that Ange could hear us. But DC is just having like, I feel like things get like lost in the fact that Warner Brothers is just so huge, right? So they've got all these different movies coming out every year. But when Marvel started, they were like, we just make Marvel movies. We just make Marvel movies. We've got a plan. And all we want to do is, like, we're a dedicated house that just makes Marvel movies. And Warner Brothers tried to, like, reverse engineer that. They didn't really have that concentrated and unapologetic approach. Like, Marvel was just like, we want to have, like, a comic book universe on the screen. And that was, like, just completely, that was the idea, and they did it.
And they did it big and all over the place. Like, there were the films. On the ABC side, they had, like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
Netflix had it. There was, like, multiple MCUs, you know? Started watching Daredevil. Just like, man, this is...
Yeah, that was a good show. That's a good show.
I can't wait to see if the rumors are true that Charlie Cox, Spider-Man.
He was spotted on set. So...
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm thinking...
Speaking of casting rumors and stuff, the news the other day about Chris Evans coming back to the MC.
Yes. Big news.
I'm going to cut to the chase. I'm going to give credit to my friend Griffin, who said it the minute it happened. He's probably... Because he said on Twitter, this is news to me, he's probably not coming back as Cap. He's probably coming back as the Human Torch.
What?
I mean, Jamie Foxx is back. Alfred Molina is back.
What? You just blew my mind.
Sam Raimi's directing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Chris Evans doesn't know about coming back as Cap because he's not coming back.
Oh my baby Grogu.
I'll tell you what, too. There's rumors Michael B. Jordan's going to come back as Killmonger. Unless he's Human Torch.
That's insane. If he comes
They're
back
bringing
as...
people back from Edward Norton Incredible Hulk.
That's true. Are they going to have... What's his name? The...
Abomination?
Not Abomination, but the dude who got the juice on his head and then he turned into a smart guy. That's how it's...
He is. I forget his name, but from
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
And he would be a great the leader, right? Leader?
Yeah. Chris Evans.
And the Red Hulk too, because they've kept Ross, Colonel Ross, and the other Ross, no relation, and in the show. So, but he is related
Evan,
to what's up, Evan?
I think Evan's saying no way to my theory.
Yes, that's
but
crazy.
I think Marvel will do it.
That's just mind blowing.
I think it's less crazy than the idea of him coming back as Captain America.
I was thinking what they would do is go back to the 50s and have Captain America and Agent Carter doing action adventures together. Like, I thought that might be the angle. But I mean, I guess I did like Agent Carter for the first season. I watched the whole first season of that. But yeah, like I was wondering if they were going to bring back Agent Carter and do maybe Captain Britain or whatever. I don't know. But
That would be cool.
but that's it. That's crazy because they do need the Fantastic Four. They have to contractually make a Fantastic Four movie every 7 years or something like that. Which
In the same way, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield aren't coming back as Spider-Man.
right.
Who's coming back as Spider-Man?
Yeah.
You know, like, very quickly. And I think it'll be multiverse. I also think multiverse bringing it because, you know, Marvel's not one to leave any part of the animal left behind. Like,
Yeah.
Wanda is Magneto's daughter. You've already had Quicksilver.
Yeah, are they including that in the universe now, the new X-Men? Because are they going to just
Yeah,
revamp?
because I mean,
oh,
Deadpool is going to be the first one.
right.
You know, now that Feige
Yeah.
said like he's coming back, it is an MCU movie. That's gonna. I mean, it's not technically the first X-Men, and technically it's Wanda.
Yeah. That's
WandaVision seems to be an adaptation of a certain X.
yeah. She's an enhanced being, an enhanced. Well, they couldn't say mutant back then because of the rights. But that yeah, Deadpool is going to be the first crossover from the Fox X-Men into the MCU, which
Yeah.
I wonder how they're going to do that. I wonder if that's going to make sense in this whole next phase because I feel like this next phase is super fantastical. It's got the multiverse, it's got the WandaVision, it's got the, you know, the multiverse of madness, and which is going to be like Doctor Strange. Spider-Man's going to have that whole thing with different universes. Yeah,
I think this is the right way to do it, which is for them to like go into their next phase of coming from 22 movies, mostly solo outing of the heroes, where they're going comic book with it and pairing them up, like we've got with Thor Ragnarok, and now like the next Thor movie got like Nebula's in Thor 4.
oh wow.
You know, so like I feel like that's the right thing. Like he got to be edging closer and closer to a Deadpool Spidey. It just seems like
We got to make that happen. I wonder what the chemistry is between Tom Holland and Ryan Reynolds. I'm sure they could make it work. I'm sure it's hilarious. I can't imagine anyone else playing Deadpool other than Ryan Reynolds either, because he's just really made that character come to life. Marketing would poop their pants. I'm going to edit that, Evan. If Chris came back as Human Torch, branding nightmare, like breaking kayfabe in wrestling.
I think they do it self-aware. Look, they just put the original Fantastic Four movies on Disney Plus as well. I think it would be a comedic moment. I don't think it would be drawn up
right
like that.
Yeah, like they would just go. They'd hop into a pocket universe or something,
Yeah.
and he'd be like, "Oh, hey Cap, what are you doing here?" And he's just like, "What are you flame on?" You're like,
They
"Wait
do
a
the Spider-Man meme, but it's Human Torch and Cap.
They're pointing at each other. That's amazing. I did like the fight between Caps in Endgame. That was epic.
Beautiful.
Where did Cap get that shield at the end of Endgame?
We don't ask those kind of questions. Maybe there was another one at no. Okay, wait. Speaking of end of Endgame, have you? I don't know if this is my conspiracy theory. I'm sure others have stumbled across it, but the end of Endgame and the end of Rise of Skywalker, which came out the same, are the same.
They are the same.
Was losing his battle with the main character Thanos and Cap, Rey and Palpatine. The ships are falling out, and then they both hear someone on the on their comms. It's both the Falcon and the Falcon. One's like on your left, the other one's Lando. He flies in. They say it's the same beat 6 months apart.
I literally every time I talk about the end of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, I say my favorite part is when Lando says "on your left" and Rey says "and I am Iron Man." That's
exactly.
I like to troll that movie because it's bad,
exactly,
and it just copies the ending, the richly earned ending of Endgame, which I found very satisfying. and
Yeah.
the cheaply earned copy that is Rise
It's
of
just
Skywalker.
like extreme wide shot of every superhero, extreme wide shot of every ship ever made in space.
Oh boy, they could have just so
It's
many
like
things.
poetry.
So many things they could
Poetry
have
beat
done.
rap.
You know, they could have had this idea that people were like, his woulda, shoulda, coulda for episode 9. You know, they tease the idea that random folks can access the Force, and then maybe have this like ragtag group of people who were like training the last couple years, being like, oh, we've got some Force powers. Maybe we can be a match to this underground star destroyer army that the Emperor somehow made after being resurrected. So dumb. I can't even get into it. But
They could never bring together a plan before in the past, and yet somehow they planned the greatest coup.
Speaking of coups, I can't wait till
What a
noon
segue.
tomorrow until this nightmare is over. But Ricky Elliott, man, thank you so much for you're welcome. Yeah, everywhere. Go find him. He's geeking out. He's making visual effects for your eyeballs.
I'll come dressed as Kylo Ren if we have to. I'll put it back on.
He is the Kylo Ren. That was amazing. Thank you so much for that birthday wish. That was awesome. I felt very special that day. Thank you.
Yeah, it was fun, and I saw you had a lot of fun with those stray candles.
I just kept. I was like, you know what? This is every time I blow them out, it's another wish for me. I was like Max Lord in that moment.
I was about to.
So thank you. Yeah, and I feel very special that you graced us with your presence today here on Aristotle Full Throttle. You are the bomb. You rock. Thank you guys on Instagram for hanging out with us for this hour. I don't know when I'll be back. It might be tomorrow, might be the next day. Definitely Friday. I'm working the next 2 days, so I'll be on set with 60 other people, which I'm kind of nervous about. I'm gotta wear.
Let's talk about that.
You gotta mask up. I'm worried. I'm like a little bit nervous just because it's been like I've worked hardly at all this last year, and I'm like, oh, I get to go back to set, which is fun. But at the same time, I'm like, every single notification I get on my phone is like, oh yeah, don't go anywhere. LA, it's the worst ever. More hospitalizations. But they've got a COVID person on set monitoring the situation. They're going to hand out PPE. They're going to,
It's I feel like, I don't know. I feel like we're hearing less and less stories of productions being shut down because of mishaps and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that pressure has, or that mindset has set in for people that like you, the Tom Cruise thing. You don't want to be the guy that sets this down. That shuts this. Like,
exactly.
You know.
Don't shut this down. Yeah, exactly.
I'm getting robots.
I think that people are respecting the rules more and more, and we just got to get through these next several months, get vaccinated, and start moving on with the stuff that's fun, man. And thank you for.
So we can make a lightsaber duel together.
Let's make a lightsaber duel together. I've got an actual Darth Vader lightsaber, so be careful what you wish for, because that's gonna happen.
It can be better.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ricky Elliott, and thank you guys for watching.
Course.
Come back every day, hang out 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm Aristotle Full Throttle, you bro with the fro. And I'll see you soon.